The years pass. The message of Jesus spreads across cities and nations. Churches rise in homes, in marketplaces, in hidden rooms lit by oil lamps. But tension is building again in Jerusalem. The city that once shouted Hosanna and later cried, "Crucify him," now stands on the edge of destruction. Warnings had been spoken decades earlier by Jesus that not one stone of the temple would remain upon another. Now history moves toward fulfillment. Fire rising tension. Rome tightens its grip over Judea. Rebellion stirs among Jewish zealots. Anger fills the streets. Political unrest becomes open revolt. In 66 AD, rebellion explodes. Roman legions march toward Jerusalem. The city prepares for war. But believers remember the words of Jesus. Many flee before the siege tightens. Crossed swords the siege of Jerusalem. In 70 AD, under General Titus, Roman forces surround the city. Walls are breached. Food runs out. Famine spreads. Chaos erupts within the gates. The magnificent temple, once the pride of Israel, is set ablaze. Flames rise into the sky. Gold melts between the stones. Soldiers tear apart the structure stone by stone. Just as foretold, Jerusalem falls. The center of Jewish worship is destroyed. The old covenant system of sacrifices ends forever. History shifts again. Globe showing Europe-Africa, the church scattered, but not silenced. What looked like disaster becomes expansion. Believers scatter across the Roman Empire. To Syria. To Asia Minor. To Greece. To Rome. They carry no swords. No armies. Only a message. Jesus is Lord. Persecution intensifies under emperors. Some believers are imprisoned. Some face arenas. Some die as martyrs. Yet faith grows stronger. The blood of martyrs becomes the seed of the church. Dove faith under fire. In catacombs beneath Rome, believers gather quietly. They sing softly. They share bread and wine. They whisper prayers. They encourage one another with stories of courage. They remember the cross. They remember the empty tomb. Empires attempt to crush them. But something unstoppable moves within them. Hope crowned the turning of the empire. Centuries later, something unthinkable happens. The faith once hunted becomes protected. The message once whispered becomes proclaimed publicly. Church buildings rise where prisons once stood. Scriptures are copied and spread. The gospel that began with fishermen now influences emperors. Not by force, but by endurance. Sunrise, the unfinished story. Jerusalem fell. The temple burned. Persecution raged. But the church did not die. Because it was never built on stone buildings. It was built on living faith. From a manger. To a cross. To an empty tomb. To a global movement. The story continues. Across continents. Across generations. Across time. And the promise remains. I am with you always. Until the very end. The church is growing. From house gatherings in Jerusalem to underground meetings in Rome, the name of Jesus spreads quietly but powerfully. Yet the Roman Empire watches with suspicion. Christians refuse to worship the emperor. They will not bow to idols. They declare only one Lord. And that declaration changes everything. Fire Stephen, the first martyr. In Jerusalem, a bold believer named Stephen stands before angry religious leaders. His face shines with courage as he recounts Israel's history and declares that Jesus is the righteous one. The crowd trembles with rage. Stephen looks upward and says, "I see heaven open and the Son of Man standing at the right hand of God." Stones fly. Blow after blow. As he falls to his knees, he whispers, Lord, do not hold this sin against them. The first martyr dies praying for his killers. But his death sparks something unstoppable. Classical building persecution under Rome. Years pass. Emperor Nero rises to power. A great fire devastates Rome. Blame must fall on someone. Christians are accused. Arrests begin. Believers are dragged from homes. Some are imprisoned. Some are executed publicly to entertain crowds. Yet even in the arena, facing wild beasts, many refuse to deny their faith. Their final words are prayers. Their final breaths are filled with hope. Drop of blood courage in the arena. Families watch as loved ones stand before roaring crowds. Instead of screaming in fear, many sing hymns. Instead of cursing Rome, they forgive. The empire expects terror. It witnesses peace. Spectators leave confused. How can they die like this? Because they believe death is not the end. Because they have seen resurrection power. Chains faith in the catacombs. Beneath the streets of Rome, in dark underground tunnels, Christians gather. Oil lamps flicker. Bread is broken. Scriptures are whispered. They draw simple symbols of a fish on the walls. A secret sign of faith. Above them, emperors rule with iron fists. Below them, hope grows roots that cannot be uprooted. Crown Polycarp and unshaken faith. An elderly bishop named Polycarp is ordered to deny Christ. Swear by Caesar, the authorities demand. He replies calmly. For 86 years I have served him, and he has done me no wrong. How can I deny my king? He is sentenced to death. But his faith remains unbroken. The flames rise. His courage inspires generations. Sunrise, the turning point. For nearly 3 centuries, waves of persecution come and go. Yet the church does not disappear. It multiplies. Finally, something unexpected happens. An emperor named Constantine claims to see a sign before battle, a cross in the sky with the words, "In this sign, conquer." Persecution slows. Christianity moves from underground tunnels to public places. The faith once punished becomes protected. The message once whispered fills cities. Sparkles the legacy of the martyrs. The empire tried to silence them. It failed. Because faith rooted in resurrection cannot be destroyed by death. Their blood became the seed of the church. Their courage became a testimony. Their sacrifice became a foundation. From arenas to catacombs, from prisons to palaces, the name of Jesus endured. And the flame they carried still burns today. The blood of martyrs has soaked the soil of the empire. For nearly 3 centuries, believers have faced prisons, flames, and arenas. Yet the message of Jesus refuses to disappear. Instead, it spreads quietly through soldiers, merchants, slaves, and even officials. What began with fishermen in Galilee is now whispering through the marble halls of Rome. Classical building underground to unstoppable. Christians meet before sunrise in hidden homes. They pray for their enemies. They care for widows and orphans. During plagues, while others flee cities, believers stay to nurse the sick, even those who persecute them. Their love becomes their loudest sermon. People begin to ask, "Who is this Jesus?" Communities grow in Antioch, Alexandria, Carthage, and Rome. The empire tries to crush the movement repeatedly, but every persecution only strengthens it. Faith is no longer a small sect. It is becoming a force. Crossed swords, the great persecution. Under Emperor Diocletian, one final massive attempt is made to destroy Christianity. Churches are burned. Scriptures are confiscated and destroyed. Leaders are imprisoned. The goal is total eradication. But something unexpected happens. Believers do not recant. They stand firm. And the empire begins to weaken under its own weight. Crown Constantine's vision. Then history shifts. A Roman general named Constantine the Great prepares for battle in 312 AD. On the eve of war, he reportedly sees a vision, a cross in the sky with words meaning, "In this sign, conquer." He orders his soldiers to mark their shields with the symbol of Christ. He wins the battle. Soon after, he issues the Edict of Milan, granting religious freedom to Christians. Persecution stops. Churches are rebuilt. Public worship begins openly. The faith that once hid in catacombs now rises into daylight. Dove from persecuted to protected. Bishops gather openly. Councils form to preserve doctrine and unity. The message spreads even faster. Christianity moves from the margins to the mainstream. Temples to Roman gods slowly empty. Crosses rise where idols once stood. The empire that tried to destroy the church now carries its banner. Globe showing Europe-Africa a global turning point. Missionaries travel beyond Rome into Europe, Africa, and Asia. Scriptures are translated. Communities are established. The faith is no longer regional. It is global. The transformation is astonishing. From a manger in Bethlehem, to fishermen in Galilee, to martyrs in Rome, to emperors defending the cross. History has turned. Sparkles the deeper meaning. But with growth comes challenge. Power tests purity. Influence tests humility. The church must now guard its heart, remembering it was born not in palaces, but in sacrifice. Not through swords, but through love. The story continues, evolving, expanding, facing new trials and new victories. And the promise remains unchanged. The gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Elon Musk's journey did not end with rockets, electric cars, or Mars colonies. Those were only the visible chapters of a much deeper transformation. The real revolution was not technological, it was psychological. It was the rewiring of what humanity believed was possible. For centuries, humans looked at the sky with wonder. But under Musk's relentless drive, wonder turned into engineering, and engineering turned into destiny. As interplanetary travel became routine and Mars matured into a thriving civilization, humanity began to understand something profound: survival was no longer the goal. Expansion was not the final achievement. The true frontier was consciousness itself. On Mars, children were born under a different sky. They grew up watching Earth as a distant star in the horizon. Their dreams were not limited by gravity or borders. They were raised in a civilization built from scratch. Designed intentionally, optimized for sustainability, driven by curiosity. Humanity had proven that it could redesign its own environment. Now it began redesigning its own limitations. Artificial intelligence evolved into a collaborative intelligence. Human minds connected seamlessly with advanced systems, sharing knowledge instantly across planets. Communication no longer required delay. Distance no longer meant isolation. A new form of civilization emerged. Distributed, synchronized, unified. But with expansion came responsibility. The farther humanity reached, the more it encountered the delicate complexity of the universe. Entire ecosystems on distant exoplanets demanded respect. Energy systems required balance. Terraforming required wisdom beyond ambition. Musk's early warnings about uncontrolled AI, sustainability, and long-term thinking echoed stronger than ever. The species had to mature as fast as it advanced. And then came the breakthrough that redefined existence itself, the realization that consciousness was not a byproduct of the universe, but a fundamental component of it. The deeper humanity explored quantum mechanics and cosmic structure, the clearer it became that observation shaped reality. Awareness was not passive, it was participatory. Human civilization began operating like a single, coordinated organism. Billions of minds contributed to a shared direction. Conflicts diminished as survival fears disappeared. Scarcity was replaced by abundance through advanced energy systems. Education became universal and instantaneous. The boundaries between science, philosophy, and spirituality dissolved into one integrated understanding of existence. Elon Musk's legacy transformed from that of an entrepreneur to that of a catalyst. He did not give humanity the future, he reminded humanity it could build it. His relentless pursuit of Mars was not about escape. It was about resilience. His push for sustainable energy was not about profit, it was about continuity. His exploration of neural interfaces was not about novelty, it was about evolution. As starships traveled beyond the Milky Way, humanity encountered the silence of deep space, vast, ancient, mysterious. Instead of fear, there was reverence. Instead of conquest, there was curiosity. Humanity no longer sought to dominate the cosmos, but to understand it. And in that understanding came the ultimate revelation: the universe was not something separate. It was a network of energy, matter, and awareness, and humanity had become one of its conscious nodes. Galaxies spun like thoughts. Stars ignited like ideas. The expansion of the universe mirrored the expansion of perception. Time itself began to feel different. With lifespans extended and knowledge exponentially accessible, individuals experienced existence not as a race, but as an exploration. Creativity flourished. Art evolved beyond canvas and sound into immersive cosmic experiences. Entire solar systems became living laboratories of expression. Yet even at the peak of advancement, the core truth remains simple: it all began with a question. What if? What if rockets could land themselves? What if cars could run on electricity? What if humans were meant to be multiplanetary? Those questions reshaped civilization. And so the legacy of Elon Musk became woven into the fabric of human evolution. Not as a myth. Not as a flawless hero. But as proof that bold vision combined with relentless execution can alter the trajectory of an entire species. Humanity now stands not at the end of a journey, but at the threshold of infinity. Every new star system explored is another page in an endless story. Every child born on a distant world carries forward the same spark that once lit a small room in Pretoria. The lesson is eternal: imagination is the most powerful force in the universe. It precedes invention. It precedes progress. It precedes transformation. When imagination aligns with courage, reality bends. From Earth to Mars. From Mars to the stars. From the stars to the structure of reality itself. Humanity awakened to its potential, stepped beyond its fears, and became a conscious participant in the cosmic story. And somewhere, across the vast tapestry of galaxies, the echo of a simple belief continues to resonate: the future is not found. It is built. Humanity, awake. Expanding. Infinite.